This film is a bit different. It's not a major studio big budget production and is largely a labour of love by one man, director Damian McCarthy, and what he's achieved with caveat is something rather unique in today's filmmaking world. It's a horror film that for once is actually rather scary. This film really follows the story of one character, Isaac, who is suffering memory loss, but his landlord offers him a job at £200 a day to go and look after his niece. As Isaac says to him, surely there has to be more to it than that. And indeed there is. When he is taken to the house, it is so remote that there's no way out of there. There's no provisions, there's no change of clothing. He's strapped into a leather harness and chained so he can't leave the house. It's all a bit ominous, and this house is just about the creepiest place you could ever wish to stay in. Olga regularly seems to go into a catatonic state, and she is completely unresponsive to anything, and that does seem to have been caused by the fact that her mother disappeared. And I think we learn early on in this film that she discovers her mother's body, and there's a little round cutout where her body is hidden within the basement of the house. The fact that no food or extra provisions were taken to the house did have me thinking that every character in this was a ghost, but by the end of it I was convinced that that was not the case, and indeed we are looking at real people here. However, the mother, after she's discovered, it's clear she's not entirely dead, and she's after revenge. There's a very demonic looking toy bunny in this that I think you're going to love. He gave me the creeps, that's for sure, and it's like one of those toy monkeys that you used to buy with the drumming. They actually had this toy manufactured for this very purpose, and I think it took so long to get the film completed that the hair started dropping out of this bunny, and that's why it looked quite so evil in the end. But it's apparent that the bunny is a possession from the dead mother, and the dead mother is using the bunny to lure her killers back to the house so she can do something similar to them. It's all very creepy, and although horror movies don't often scare me, this one came pretty close. As for my wife, I wouldn't say she was terrified, but she was watching most of it from behind Bruno here, so that hid her eyes from the screen a bit, so I think that's a pretty good sign. If you're into horror movies, you might get a bit of a thrill out of this one. The toy bunny probably would have been the star of the show were it not that everyone else in this film is so good. There's only 5 people in it, I think, and only 3 of those appear for any length of time. The dead mother or the zombie mother, whatever, very good but very few appearances, but damn creepy, that's for sure. But this film did not have much of a theatrical release worldwide. It appears to have only got a small release in Poland, where it took around $7,000 US. It's estimated on IMDb to have cost around £250,000. I don't know quite how they come to that estimate, but Damian McCarthy did do most of it himself. But building the sets, the 2 cameramen, the actors and the actresses in the parts, I suppose it all mounts up, and so they might not be too far from the truth there, but whatever, by modern standards this costs literally nothing to make, and what he's ended up with is a classy production that, as I keep saying, is actually rather scary. It has a filmic look, but it surely can't have been. I was peering through the darkness in this one to check for film grain, but I couldn't see any evidence in here. Maybe I wasn't watching closely enough because I was actually getting pretty tense at times. So it's just well shot video that has been well graded. It has a running time of 1 hour and 28 minutes. It's got an aspect ratio of approximately 2.35 to 1, and it comes with DTS HD 5.1 sound. As it didn't have much of a theatrical release, it went direct to the Shudder streaming service, and I can find no record of how well it's done on there so far. But as of today, while I'm recording this, it's been released on Blu-ray and is also still available to view on Shudder. So hopefully now this film is going to find a significant audience, and judging by the amount of views the trailer has been getting on YouTube, I feel that audience is not too far away. So I'll leave a link in the description below to that trailer so you can have a look and see if this one's worth having a stream on Shudder or perhaps investing in the Blu-ray. The image quality is good. As I said, it looked like film to me and I was peering for film grain through the darkness but couldn't see any. It is well shot, well graded video as far as I'm concerned. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Maybe Damian McCarthy will pop on here and correct me. And the sound is very enveloping 5.1 through my THX 5.1 in here. So recommended all round this one. It's one of those films that just ends to black and you may not be expecting it. I should mention there's a dog in this too, sitting out the back of the house or the front of the house maybe. And I don't know how he's managing to feed himself because he's tied up. So it's all very strange. It's all got a good atmosphere. And as I say, if you're into horror movies, this one could be for you. Now, as for where the channel's going in the next week or two, we had a trip to London recently to see the 70mm of Death on the Nile, so I was allowed to shoot some video in the Odeon. I wasn't allowed to go into the projection box. I don't think they really like people up there when they're about to show something on 70mm. You really do have to have your wits about you for that one. 70mm is not quite what it used to be. I've been given some help by subscriber Rhoda onto why that may be, and I think between us we've come up with our conclusions and we know what's going on with 70mm, but still special to see something on 70mm, still better than the equivalent video projection that they had running just before. I may also do a quick tour of the other cinemas around Leicester Square and the West End, maybe going down to the BFI IMAX because it seems that not many people actually know where that IMAX is. Can't really miss it if you go along Waterloo Bridge. So it could be an interesting little video coming there, and we'll end that with a look at what could be the most successful video store. I've known it as a music and video store for over 35 years now, but today it's owned by Sunrise Records, who own the HMV Group, and it's the most successful FOP in the country. So stay tuned to this channel for that one. Until the next video, bye bye for now.